Nicholas Latifi's time in Formula One is coming to an end. His results just weren't up to the standard of Williams, and now he's acknowledged it. So where did the Canadian go wrong? Plus, how did Max Verstappen help steal a Mercedes driver for Red Bull? Stay tuned. First, confusion at the Japanese Grand Prix. The championship results weren't the only thing causing confusion at the Japanese Grand Prix this year. While fans and commentators were scratching their heads over whether or not Max Verstappen had clinched the title, some drivers couldn't even find their way onto the right part of the track. Sure, the conditions were pretty abysmal. Torrential rain pouring down on the Suzuka circuit didn't help visibility, but it's still hard to excuse Nicholas Latifi's mistake. During the second free practice session of the weekend, Latifi steered right instead of left at the final chicane and ran down a dead-end road. Latifi was over the radio shortly after to complain that Williams was feeling strange, but most fans suspected he was trying to recover for his error, and it wasn't his only mishap of the weekend. He also copped a 5-place grid penalty after the stewards reviewed an incident around earlier at the Singapore Grand Prix. It was on lap 7 of the race when Latifi didn't leave Alfa Romeo Guan Yu Zhou any room, and the two collided. While it was Zhou trying to pull off an overtaking move, the officials decided that it was Latifi's poor judgment that caused them to crash. That meant that Latifi was starting from P19, but he did manage to race his way through the chaos into a respectable P9. Now he says that his sole focus is on finishing the season strong. His time in Formula One may be coming to an end, but there are plenty of doors open once you have F1 on your resume. The dream might not be over for Latifi. Latifi's performance was enough to win the favor of some fans who have been trolling him for months. The meme GoTifi has followed him on the internet as a way of mocking his abilities. But after the Japanese Grand Prix, people were genuinely impressed, and for good reason. Latifi matched Nick de Vries' 2-point performance in Monza, which is why F1 journalist Will Buxton praised Latifi's good job and described his race as a really impressive drive. And Buxton wasn't the only one. Williams head of vehicle performance Dave Robson had some positive words for Latifi too. Robson said that Nicky had an excellent start and managed the race in tricky conditions. He was even able to stay in front of the McLarens of Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo. How often do you see the Papaya team trailing behind Williams? This could be the turning point that his career needs. He is finally starting to step out from the back of the grid and show some teeth. Latifi might have left his best driving for the last part of the season. The Japanese Grand Prix was his first time scoring points all year and his second highest career finish. But is it too little too late? With top drivers like Daniel Ricciardo failing to find a drive for next year, what chance does the young Canadian have? Next up, Latifi throws in the towel. The Canadian made his way into the sport in 2020 with the help of his father's company, Sofina, and his personal sponsor, Lavazza. But it seems that money and patience have run out at the team, with rising superstar Nick de Vries taking his place from next year onwards. When he came in 9th at the Italian Grand Prix, de Vries proved what many people already thought. He was sitting in for a sick Alex Albon and had hardly a day to get used to the car, but that's all the time he needed to drive the final nail into Nicholas Latifi's career. At the time, Latifi blamed the setup of the car and claimed that de Vries' result wasn't as remarkable as it looked. Now that he's had some time to reflect though, Latifi has acknowledged his mistakes. Without a seat for the 2023 season, Latifi said that he understands the decision because F1 is a results-based industry. It looks unlikely that Latifi will find an opportunity at a rival team, but the former F2 runner-up isn't disillusioned. He said that F1 is still where he wants to be, and he will try to find another pathway back onto the grid. You can't help but admire his determination. Then again, is he really cut out for the pinnacle of motorsport? Up next, how did Latifi's one-time teammate score himself a position at Red Bull, and how did Abu Dhabi affect Latifi's mentality? So don't go anywhere. The path for Nick de Vries. Williams hasn't announced their replacement for Nicholas Latifi yet, but his temporary teammate Nick de Vries has made a big move. After his brief spell with Williams this year, he earned himself a spot in the Red Bull stable. However, not everyone is happy about it. Nick de Vries is probably the most talented Dutch driver since Max Verstappen. He won the Formula 2 championship in 2019 and went on to win the Formula E championship in 2021. Mercedes had plans for him for a while, but with no space in the team, he has chosen a different path. And there's no better option for a young driver than Red Bull. The defending world champions have proven that if you stay with their system and you have the talent, they can give you the opportunities. Eyeing a future world championship, de Vries has signed with AlphaTauri. Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen both started there when the team was known as Toro Rosso, so it's not a bad gamble. But for Mercedes, it could be a missed opportunity. Mike Elliott, Mercedes technical director, said that it was a shame to see where de Vries is heading. At the same time, though, Elliott is happy for the Dutchman to get the chance because he deserves it. De Vries is replacing outgoing driver Pierre Gasly, who is making a big move to Alpine. It seems that after years of proving himself at AlphaTauri, he's not getting another chance at Red Bull's senior team. Next, how Verstappen helped a countryman. It shouldn't be a surprise that Nick de Vries is friends with Max Verstappen. The two young stars are the only Dutch drivers in the sport, and that's something they're both proud of. Verstappen has now revealed how he connected his old friend with his team. In an interview, Verstappen said that he had dinner with de Vries after his impressive performance at Monza. That wasn't all, though. He also advised de Vries to give a call to one of Red Bull's senior executives, Helmut Marko, who was impressed by his P9 debut. Well, he must have made that call, because it didn't take long for Red Bull to sign de Vries to AlphaTauri. It surely didn't hurt to have Verstappen's backing. Verstappen strongly feels that de Vries deserves to be driving in Formula One after pushing hard for a long time. The defending world champion has been Red Bull's golden goose for years now, with much of the team molding around the style and character of Verstappen. So if he puts in a good word for you, it means something. It couldn't have come at a better time. Red Bull was looking for a replacement for Gasly, who was on his way out. Christian Horner confirmed that they were interested in Colton Herta, a rising star in the IndyCar series. However, when he was denied a super license, their plan fell apart. Then, right on cue, Nick de Vries became available. Everything is going right for Red Bull these days. But where did it all go wrong for Latifi? Nicholas Latifi might have only 9 points to his name, but that name will be etched into the history books by some unfortunately timed accidents. The most infamous of those came at the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The championship was hanging in the balance between rivals Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, with Red Bull hoping for a miracle with the Mercedes driver miles ahead. And that miracle came in the form of Nicholas Latifi. A late crash into the wall brought out a safety car, and after a couple of controversial decisions from the race director, Verstappen was able to clinch his first world title. Red Bull may have become Latifi's biggest fans, but there was no mercy online. The Williams driver was abused on social media and even received death threats from obsessive fans. His boss, Josh Capito, thinks that it may have been too much to get over. Capito said that the team never blame a driver for a crash, and they defended Latifi, but that the incident may have taken confidence away from him. His performance last year hadn't exactly been stellar, but there were a few weekends, like in Hungary and Belgium, where his potential shone through. And if it weren't for last year's catastrophe, he may have continued to build confidence into this season. Unfortunately, there aren't many opportunities in motorsport, and failing to capitalize on them can leave drivers wishing they had done things differently. Do you think that Latifi deserves to drive in Formula One? And who could be in line to replace him? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.